Hey, so we got a small audible, right? Like it's like a 2 minute audible, because we got our teammates from down in Tampa that wanna show some love to the Signal Regiment. So Sergeants Majors, come on up, ma'am. Please come on up. All right, so we're gonna get this. So we called it Graybeards last year, if you were here, and right there on the spot, we decided to say today the Trailblazer. Little did we know the dedication breakdown was really the problem. So as we know it today, we still are going to call them Trailblazers because they have blazed the trail for us. After that location, Graybeards, because some of them did have gray beards. So when you hear the term, or either one of those terms, we are specifically talking
So for me, my entire career was about my family, the Army and my family, and it was a healthy balance. The minute I knew it was time was when, of course, I was at Force Com. My wife had a great job, daughter's in college nearby, and I'm the kind of person that, if I go, my family goes. I'm not leaving my family. So at that point, I could have gone a couple other places, but I didn't want to leave them. So I knew at that time it was time to go. And the most important thing too, one of the things I've talked to my friends about is I leave when you're happy versus angry, because I've seen a lot of them that leave when they're angry, and it's not a good thing. And that's what I want to do. I want to leave on top, and that's what I did.
So when did I know it was time for me to leave? Actually, I didn't. I was the Command Sergeant Major for the Network Enterprise Technology Command out of Fort Huachuca. And I'd been out there for, I think, 5 or 6 years under 3 commanding generals. And I competed to be the Command Sergeant Major for the Army Cyber Command. And I competed to be the Command Sergeant Major for the Defense Information Systems Agency. After every interview, I walked away thinking I'm that guy, right? Obviously, I wasn't. But I woke up one morning to go to PT. Me and my boss, General Lynn at the time, we did PT together every morning. I woke up and I saw my PT clothes on my couch because I was a GO bachelor at the time. I woke up and I looked at it and I said, you know what? I'm not doing this shit today. I'm not kidding. And you can ask General Lynn, he's here. So I discounted PT that day. I slept in, woke up, cooked myself some good bacon and eggs, went into the office, and our office was adjoining. It's a little bit different than headquarters now, but our office was adjoining where I can go in and see him anytime I want to see him, and he can see me when I want to see him. The door stayed open. I walk in the office and the door is closed, so that means the general he's not happy today, right? And so I knocked on the door. Hey, sir, come on in, Sergeant Major. So we had a leader meeting at 9 o'clock. Everybody was in there, command and staff, so to speak. And we go around and we talk a little bit. I can just tell that CG's not happy. And he made a comment right in front of the staff. He said, my battle buddy went in at PT this morning, so to me that's AWOL. I'm like, okay, sir. You're right, AWOL, all right. And so we kept talking. He'd go around the room, and I'm always the last one to speak in the audience. And he said, Sergeant Major, you got anything? I said, sir, not for the group. So he knows I'm pissed now, right? It's just between me and him. So nonetheless, everybody leaves out. I said, what you got? I said, sir, what do you mean, AWOL? I said, AWOL is 24 hours. I wasn't gone 24 hours. I said, but the bottom line, I'm retiring. But my point to the whole story was, you don't know when you're going to do it, but when you feel it, make the decision and don't have any regrets, As for the IT skills and expertise that you feel are needed out here, I would tell you most of these companies don't need us for IT business. Now, if you're a smart guy like Trey, you know how to twist the knobs. I was a sergeant major for a long time. I mean, I watched transition of equipment, advancement in technology to the point to where, I couldn't even spell IT, and I still can't today, all right? But what they want you for is your ability to help them understand how the military runs, okay? How leaders think and make decisions. How to understand priorities to get in and have conversations about solving significant problems for our government. That's what they want, if you want to do this industry business. But a good mentor of mine, he said, hey, listen, the world is your oyster. You can do anything you want to do when you get out. The United States military has prepared each and every one of us to do other than the stuff that we're doing that we're comfortable with. I migrated to this industry because I'm very comfortable in this zone. But I got friends of mine, Command Sergeant Major retired Mike Bartell. This guy, he was like the vice president of a bank, a retired Army Command Sergeant Major. These guys can attest to that. And there's so many others who followed their own individual paths to get to where they wanted to go without that IT technical expertise. So don't just rely on all of that, okay? But I would tell you this. You don't start transitioning in a matter of shedding off the key because you don't want to drive the car no more. What these guys are suggesting to you in terms of start transition early is, not that I'm quitting on duty, but I still got gas in the tank, but oh, by the way, I'm looking around and check things out. LATCO, LATCO, LATCO. Look around and check things out. See who around you. Like this conference, for example. If you're not spending time with people that's not wearing the clothes that you're wearing, you're not preparing for your future. Preparing for your future is not like turning off the key and not being the command sergeant major or the chief of signal that you're supposed to be. That's not what we're asking you to do. What we're suggesting is be in tune with what's going on in your surroundings. And oh, by the way, when it's time for you to transition, there's people out there, they got a Rolodex like, okay, I want Brady on my team. How do I get Brady? Okay? How can I get her on my team? Hey, we need to have a meeting with her. I heard she's getting ready to retire. That's how it works, okay? But in preparation is making sure that your family is prepared for that transitional business, right? Like I told you, I woke up one day and said, I'm done. I didn't give my family a lot of time to transition, okay? Because at that particular time, when I called the SMA and I told them I was retiring, because at that point, NetCom was it was a direct reporting unit to the Sergeant Major Army. And he told me I couldn't retire. Just like General Lynn said, you can't retire. I got 30 years and I can retire. But at the end of the day, he asked me one thing. He said, listen, if you give me 9 months to pick your replacement, to help us find your replacement, that's his words, not mine, find your replacement, I will give you 9 months to transition. I'm not sure if y'all still doing it today. I know Crosby was around. He understands what I'm talking about. They gave us 9 months as a nominative sergeant major to transition out the Army. That was the best 9 months that the Army had given back to me. It gave me an opportunity to continue to improve on my brand, okay? Because that's all you got is your brand, okay? And oh, by the way, how you treated people when you was in uniform is how people are going to expect you to treat them when you take the uniform off. Do I need to repeat that, or should I just pump my foot?
Say it again.
How you treat people in uniform is the way people are going to expect you to treat them once you take it off. So if you're out here working for Cisco, for example, you pick a company. I worked for them for 10 years before I retired and opened up my own consulting company. So I do this on my own now. But once you get out here, your brand is your brand. You can't take it away. And when these companies hire you to go back in and talk to your friends that you had for over 30 years, people are going to be like, oh, man, that's Williams. We got to go. I want to talk to him because of things that we did or did not do right when we wore the uniform. So my suggestion to each and every one of you that is wearing a uniform today, continue to focus on what you need to do to make things better for your formation each and every day. And don't leave anything behind. Sweat every day if you have to. Because at the end of the day, people are going to remember you for the impact, the lasting impression that you made on the organizations that you served in. Just take it for what it's worth. I will assure you, Sergeant Major, without the IT skill set, if you build a brand of trust and confidence, you're not going to have a problem with people hiring you to help them make a difference for the people that you served with over the last 30-plus years of your career. Okay? However, if you have that passion, to want to be in charge and run certain things and oh, by the way, get your certifications, your Security Plus, your PMP, and all those things that are very marketable out here, because every contract that a company gets, there's so many PMP slots that's on that contract, which means I need so many PMP people, certified folks, to put on my contract to satisfy the requirements of the government. They need so many Security Plus people on these contracts. So that's where these skills and all these different certifications come into play. But for a person like, I won't compare myself to you, because you look like you're smarter than me. okay? But for people like me that don't have the IT skill sets, because I stayed out of that environment, just managed and helped provide resources to command teams and stuff like that. I mean, I had to get out and leverage my management skills, my understanding of the business that I had for over 30 plus years. Is that fair enough? All right. Hopefully I answered your question.
So, how do you say this? Retirement's inevitable. It's going to happen for everybody. So, you kind of heard it up here before, start preparing now. And like Gerald said, don't quit on your job. You got to go to the end. You got to take it all the way to the finish line. People are still going to call you Sergeant Major. Some are going to embrace the first name thing. It's not a bad thing, but you got to take it all the way to the end. And then when you get to the end, take the uniform off, just like you've heard up here before. Some of us still are engaged with what goes on at Fort Eisenhower. Tom, I think you're on Fort Eisenhower more now than when you were the Sergeant Major here. And some of it is, okay, I want to make it better for the soldiers coming behind me.
That's tea. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I thought it was bourbon, but anyway. But there's another facet of this. You've given 100 miles an hour for 30 plus years. You got to think about your family now too. Okay, I wanted to retire I wanted to go to Texas to retire because it's veteran friendly and all that. Well, I live right across the river in Graniteville because my wife had control in stock and where we retired. I gave her that option. Well, I don't think I really gave her that option. I think she took that option. But what I'm saying is, now is the time for your family as well once you retire. If you're one of those people that have to get a job right away, unless you love what you're going to do, you're not going to like it right away. You're going to struggle. You're going to wish you had taken time off. I took a whole year off. I think what did you say down there? 2 years, Gerald? And I think my wife said I slept for 3 days. Just because you're going 100 miles an hour and all of a sudden you're almost full stop now. Now, when I say that, don't go full stop. You still got to stay fit because, what was it, about 20 years ago, Sergeant Majors would retire, and next thing you know, you're reading their obituary. You got to stay fit. You got to do something to stay in the mix, physically, mentally. If you need help, you got to ask for help. But what I'm saying is, retirement's inevitable. When it gets there, you got to embrace it, and you got to move forward with it.
All right, we're all type A, type A, type A, so we'll talk your ears off. But the handout, in case I don't get another chance to talk, CSM now means for me, come see me. You got some questions, come see me afterwards. I put my email on there on the back of that. But I just wrote down some things that I got scar tissue from that tripped me up. Sergeant Major, I knew I wanted to get out when they changed the system. See, we were CSMs for life. I mean, once you made CSM, you didn't go CSM, then SGM, then CSM. And the next job I was going to get was DC. So I knew I wanted to get out. But if you increase your skills, I went and got PMP. I got a doctorate degree. Nobody ever asked me about my technical skills when I got hired at General Dynamics because they gave me 80 people that had technical skills. They wanted someone who could manage 80 people. And let's face it, this group can do that in their sleep, all right? And talk about managing their person. Command Sergeant Major Rayford snuck in the back. Yeah, but Rayford now is a city manager for an entire city. He's the guy that does everything. Congratulations to him. But I'm going to pass the mic over, but take a look at this. If you get a chance, if you have any questions from the sheet, it's just stuff that I got scar tissue on, got scuffed up a little bit, and maybe you can read one or two of those and you won't.
Sergeant Major, I would answer your question with this right here. Stay up on the net. stay up on the net. You know, you're going to, like Ron said, you're going to push all the way until the very, very end, and you're going to transition. One of the things during my 2 years as I kind of reset myself is I stayed up on the net. I still participated in all the different regimental things. I still came to these conferences. Even though I was not in uniform, I still came. I stayed up on the net. The relationships that you all built will follow you. You know, we always talk about this is NCO business. No, it's Army business. When you start relationships with your officers, you have to start that at an early level, from starting first class. When I look at General Miles, he was a lieutenant. I kept that relationship with him from the time he was a lieutenant to a general. A lot of these officers that you all are working with, they will become decision makers for guess what? For organizations, you know, that are hiring folks. And if you build a relationship like that, I would tell you, they will definitely embrace you. And you all have a set of qualities that a lot of civilians don't have. We're different. You know, we can walk into an organization today and we can see what's wrong within a matter of seconds. That's the kind of eyes that, you know, industry is looking for. They're hiring you for your capabilities, your relationships with the Army. You know the Army. You know soldiers. Those are different things that you have to really leverage, and know that you never underestimate what you bring to the table. When you're sitting and you're advising commanders at the highest levels, those are important decisions. And so I go back to one word in the Creed of the Non-Commissioned Officer. It talked about competence is your watchword. Stay confident in what you're doing. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but guess what? You know, utilize those people around you. Understand your job. I'm a business development executive, okay? I still got to understand the entire mission of our cyber. I still have to interact with NetCom. You all see me out of NetCom quite often. I'm all throughout the formations of the total Army. And so I had to stay abreast on that kind of stuff. So don't think that the transition is an easy transition, is not work involved. You got to still be smart at what you're doing. And that's what they're paying the big bucks for.
All right, so I'm in the train, we have to get ready to leave. There's a lot of So, you didn't know, we got inducted as a distinguished member of the regiment, so round of applause for that, please.
Yeah.
Gabe McCoy, round of applause for that, too. Now, I'm on my victory lap, we gotta catch this tip. So this, and I know you gotta leave, but you wanna say thank you for jumping up here, but if you could, I'm gonna speak on his behalf. I'm pretty sure if you call him anything, he will assist you. But like I said, this is Chip. Because you gotta go, and you are a Trailblazer. I don't need you to drop it. Just hold your hand out. Put it together. There you go. Appreciate it. All right, so, next question. Who's got it?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim McCabe. Police over here out in Canterbury, Virginia. Working one to operate underneath all the news we're getting from command. So this is a lesson learned question, because everybody on this panel has managed and navigated through the truths that come with new technology. But for right now, in my battle space, data literacy and data fluency is the thing we have to get good at now. What I can do is say, hey, Lucas, can you give us like 10 months to kind of prove it? Then we get the vote. And I think everyone on this panel has shepherded in new techniques and new technology while maintaining persistent operations. So my question to you is, what advice do you have for dealing with the disruption that comes with maintaining persistent operations while simultaneously introducing new technology? Thank you.
Yeah, for me, we opened the Baghdad Signal University. So we were getting commercial off-the-shelf equipment that our service members, there's no way the regiment could have trained them. Yeah, because we didn't have that equipment in the schoolhouse. So you have to be the champion of standing up a university and then reach back to the regiment so that they push stuff to you. All right, you shouldn't have to stand up the university and do the curriculum. All right, and you can then, when you're in combat, you have money, and you can hire contractors to do that. So you're right. Many of us have done that or maintained a university. And the issue is when you're in combat, you're not going to get another NCO because you put that NCO down in the schoolhouse. So now you need contract to either teach that or take over one of the jobs that they just left. So I would say make the regiment be responsible for helping you. And talk to the chief of signal and the regimental command sergeant major when they come over and go, listen, we just ate 8 people. This isn't borrowed military manpower. I can't borrow nothing, all right? I can't borrow anything from anybody because I don't have it, all right? And I have a real world issue. And that's why they travel around the globe, so they can hear things like that and help you.
And I add on to that because the Signal Corps is already, and the regiment has already had resource constraints, and you always got multiple bosses. The senior mission commander, you have the CIO G6, you got Fort Gordon. You all got a lot of bosses you've got to answer to. With that being said, the resource, they want our soldiers, but they don't want the resources. At the executive level, I really, really believe until we get the war fighters, and that's at your level now, where we get the officers and we get the Army to start buying into where the combatant commanders start resourcing our signal soldiers. Now we're going to be more efficient. And I think that's probably, something that we can give General Morrison. We need more from the combatant commanders. They want our soldiers, they want our expertise, but yet still, all the bill payers are within the signal regiment. That's very, very challenging. And when you start looking at all the different MOSs that we've gone and we've collapsed, and now the different new technologies that's involved, they want our soldiers. They want to embed our soldiers. But how do we get our soldiers trained? Well, send them back to Fort Gordon. Where's the money? So we need to work more at the executive level to incorporate funding coming from those combatant commanders.
I would, go ahead, Sergeant.
Excuse me. So, Sergeant Major, I would tell you, I still currently serve. Colonel Donnelly up here, not only was she my company commander when she was a captain, but now she's my commandant. I'm currently a course manager here on Fort Eisenhower for the 25 Sierras. And when you talk about data literacy, that is one of the key things that we need to embed in our soldiers today. I see it every day because the soldiers that I train, I make sure that we train them to the best of our abilities because I know what it's like to have a soldier that comes to you and is not trained. So it's really very important that you, as sergeant majors in this room, you're not going to be the button pushers. That time is gone for most of us. This time is gone. Now you got to be the managers. Now you got to be those guys that know what's important for them to learn. Know what's important for them to be successful and accomplish any mission that is handed to us. And that's what I would tell you guys is the best thing that you can do on your way out the door, is to make sure that you put out premier soldiers in this Army.
All right, so
Well, Sergeant, I want to go back to that question.
jump on next. We got another.
And I'm going to let it go, and I promise you, I'm not going to say anything unless I'm saying something too, right? But, Sergeant Major, I would tell you, the challenge that you're dealing with is not a new challenge, okay? And we dealt with the same challenges, but your challenge is different than ours, based on your current environment and the current situation. But I will submit to you, one of the things that you have in your favor, and we talk about the war fighters, and I think we all are war fighters, so I don't get twisted about that. But when you have people that are in charge of divisions, in charge of corps, in charge of the Army, like the Chief of Staff for the Army, talking about signal, communications, network modernization being the top priority, then you got a better situation than what we had. So you may not get everything just in time, but you're gonna get it when you need it. And the Chief of Signal can probably echo what I'm telling you here. You got so much support behind you right now, understanding the needs and the requirement of signaleers and communicators on the battlefield. They are working to get us what we need so we can continue to support the fighter, okay? So, all the best. Thanks for you.
All right, so, I'm ready for, please come up here. He also has to leave. Well, Trailblazer, out the door to the booth. Another individual that
Where you
got
gotta
inducted
go?
as a distinguished member of the regiment. Please run the call. He also got to go with one more round of applause. He's also got to catch the chip. Except you better pick the options though. If you look like you've been working out. Option A, option B, or option C. Hand them together. You know what you got. All right. So here's the
see you
deal, right?
down
We got
there.
like 15 to 20 minutes-ish. Not like yesterday's 15 to 20 minutes. Like that's for real 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm thinking whoever gets the next question, make it a good one, so they can kind of send it home, pass it to the back wall over the fence. And like we already know, they are always available to all of us all the time. So who has something good? Like put some spunk on it. Let it cook. Give me something good.
Just a little bit about history and a little bit about so those of you in the room, I think know, we'll run back to the right?
That's good.
And I'm not going to try to get through this in but some of the surgeon on this and different, they've been on for
10 years. Yeah, it's 1 minute.
my question to the Jewish panel is, as we bring it back, the goal of that sergeant, right? We go around, we talk to the divisions, we talk to these young 5, 6 lieutenants, and 8-1, and then they want that. That, and I remember all my first I how, what advice are you giving sergeants about if they step us back and how do they do that never possibly that's
I'll take the lead on that. And I think a lot of us were in division. In the 82nd, you got three brigades. Okay. And when you look at how you administer, you got to make sure the best soldiers. You got to train your soldiers to be able to act independently when they get embedded into the division. When they go to 1st Brigade, you have to establish a good relationship with that entire brigade, all the sergeant majors, all the officers, the threes. They got to be multifaceted as far as going down into the division, into those brigades. The talent management that you have within your organization right there, say in the 82nd we had 3 companies. And so each one of those companies had a different brigade that they had to support. And now you start going all the way down to the squad level as far as those young soldiers. Who are the best soldiers to put in there? You just can't put just the average soldiers into those brigades because they'll get swallowed up if they don't have top cover. And so you got to stay embedded. You with the leadership, you got to be multifaceted again, understanding the mission, understanding the organization, and making sure that they're effective and making sure that they're trained. And so the more training that they do, and the more they're embedded in the organization, the more those organizations, those brigades will receive them. And so I think that's important, the prior training, them embedding them into the organization. Anytime a brigade went into any kind of maneuver or exercise, they knew exactly who they were going to get. You can't put so-and-so down here this time, then the next time you replace them with somebody else. You know, so you got to be consistent in the message that you send those brigades.
My comment is something very simple, ma'am. Very, very simple for these non-commissioned officers. There was a time back 15, 20 years ago where we didn't have email, where NCOs got out, walked company to company, talking to your peers. That's what we got to get back to. A lot of us are commanding from email, from behind a desk. But non-commissioned officers, we should be out talking amongst ourselves, talking amongst your peers, between companies, between battalions, between brigades. If you do that, you can really become an effective leader, because then not only will you build those networks, but your soldiers will see you as you are out and about. That's the key that we need to get back to, in my opinion.
All right, so if you find yourself as a Division Signal Battalion Sergeant Major, there's a couple things you do when you step into that role. One, build that relationship with your commander. Your commander's got to have full confidence in your abilities. The next one is you've got to get buy-in from the Division Sergeant Major. Whatever it takes, you got to let that Division Sergeant Major know that his signal soldiers across the entire division are going to be managed and mentored by you as a Battalion Sergeant Major. And that flows all the way down. You know, Gerald mentioned the 82nd. Okay, each company was aligned with a brigade, a habitual relationship. That didn't just stop when they went to the field. That was command and staff meetings. So as a Charlie Company First Sergeant, myself and my commander, we were at battalion command and staff. We were at the brigade's command and staff. The brigade knew us. The brigade knew the Division Signal Battalion Sergeant Major was the guy to turn to when he had a signal issue with personnel. So you've got to get that Division Signal Battalion or Division Sergeant Major's buy-in for you as a Division Signal Battalion Sergeant Major. Without that, those brigade sergeant majors are going to chew you up. And just like Gerald said, that training, that management, it's going to carry a lot of weight, especially with the maneuver sergeant major, the brigade sergeant majors.
Yeah, I just think, ma'am, that it starts with HRC, putting the right person in there. Sergeant Major here, patches. The NetCom Sergeant Major with all the patches and shit. He needs to go, sorry. I got to clean up my language. I would say he gets assigned to 18th Airborne, and you put someone like Ron there, all right? You put a leg in the wrong spot, that dog don't hunt. So it comes, HRC has a role in that. When we had the division, I guess I'm the oldest. Am I the oldest? You know? Yeah, there you go, brother. We're collecting Social Security up here. Yeah, in a sergeant major at that level, don't forget about your ability. You talk about leadership, but you're in the inspiring business, all right? You're going to war in a division, all right? That's your mission, all right? You can watch all those television, and say training is this and that, but you get assigned to a division, there is no doubt you are going to engage the enemy. You have to be able to inspire service members and then engage the trust of leadership at all levels. Because remember, when you're a CSM, I tell people, I had service members who got killed in action. I am the last command sergeant major that young man or woman will ever have. So who writes their mom now? Me, the battalion commander. I'm it. That's it, brothers and sisters. So you have to, it starts with HRC, and then it starts with relationships, because when we work with the Corps, they will test you as a signal sergeant major. And you just have to sack up, and you just have to have some intestinal fortitude is a better way to put that, and be tough like woodpecker lips, all right? So I hope that helps, ma'am. I'll turn it over to Jerry.
Well, ma'am, I could echo everything that this panel has said, because I think it's all valid. But one thing I would tell a sergeant major is, I can wait.
All right, so
One thing that I would say to a sergeant major is, there's two names on that sign. Two, the battalion commander and the battalion command sergeant major. And at the end of the day, if you as a command sergeant major do not clearly understand what your boss's boss expects from them, you won't be successful. You got to help your boss understand what her boss or his boss want from them to accomplish. And if you're able to do that, combined with the stuff that these sergeant majors have shared with you, I think you will be a very effective Division Signal Battalion Command Sergeant Major. Thanks.
great question. All right, so we're going to transition to kind of closing this out. But I would ask you, gentlemen, and I'll ask the question, then give you about 5 or 6 seconds to think about it, and then we're going to start with Clark, and then we'll just go down the table. This is twofold, right? This is like, there's one thing, one takeaway, one bit of information, like, you didn't get the hour, say you didn't get an hour to speak, and you just like, I got 30 seconds. And here's what I want you to take away from the legendary Trailblazer table. What would it be this morning? Yeah.
I would just say life is fun. I skipped to work when I was in the Army, and I worked myself to a job where I skipped to my job. And life is too short. Don't give your stuff away and get a divorce when you're 40. Don't give half your shit away when you're 40. Whew. That's it? Sorry.
So, I would say, as you guys end in your career, every last one of y'all in here are A-type personalities. We never would have made it to the pinnacle if we didn't have an A-type personality, right? But as you move forward in your careers as a civilian, use your personal strengths as your foundation in your next career. Everybody's personal strengths is different. But if you use that as your core, you will still continue to be successful as a civilian.
I'll leave you with two things. The 3 C's: character, competence, and commitment. And then finally, the 3 L's: listen, learn, and continue to lead.
That was profound.
One thing I'll say is find something you enjoy to do. Just like Tom said, he skips to work. Find something you enjoy to do and prioritize your family.
People won't remember your titles. They'll remember if you care about them, right? And my leadership philosophy when I was a young sergeant, young first sergeant, young sergeant major, was to live by what I call TIPS. TIPS. Talk, inform, predictability, sensitivity. You talk to your people to keep them informed. Make them understand what your expectations are. Keep them informed. Put some predictability in their lives and be sensitive to their needs. If you're able to talk to your people, keep them informed, and put that predictability in their lives and be sensitive to their needs, treat them like, prime example, and I'll say this and I'll shut the heck up, I promise you, because I want to talk all night, I promise you. Imagine someone having a pay problem, or you having a pay problem, and you taking all the paperwork to the first sergeant's desk or the sergeant major's desk, the commander's desk, to be signed off on, to be initiated for that soldier to be paid, right? Your paperwork goes there, it sits, and the clerk puts it in the commander's box. Commander waits 3 weeks to sign it, right? If that was the commander's paperwork, the commander would sign that document right then and there. As a leader, make their problems your problems and make sure that paperwork is signed timely so that soldier can get their situation rectified ASAP. Those are the things that soldiers and leaders expect out of each of us as leaders at every level is for us to talk to them, keep them informed, put some predictability in their lives, be sensitive to their needs, and I call that taking care of people. That's all I got.